Don't drink the water. The nurse's voice was barely a whisper as she adjusted my IV line, but her grip on my wrist was urgent. I looked up at her, confused, my throat dry from the anesthesia. I'd just woken up from what was supposed to be a routine gallbladder surgery at Street Michael's Hospital in Denver. I'm sorry? I tried to sit up, but the pain in my abdomen made me wince. She glanced toward the door, then back at me, her dark eyes serious. The water bottle on your table. Your nephew brought it. Don't drink it. I'll bring you fresh water from the nurse's station. I'm Robert Chandler, 67 years old, retired aerospace engineer, widower for 12 years, and apparently, someone had just tried to poison me in a hospital room. Let me back up. 3 months earlier, my life was simple. I lived in the house my wife Margaret and I built in Littleton, Colorado, back in 1989. After she passed from breast cancer, I threw myself into what we'd always talked about doing together, traveling. I spent 2 years driving across America in our RV, visiting every national park, every small town we'd circled on maps during quiet Sunday mornings over coffee. But traveling alone gets lonely, so I came home. The house felt too big, too quiet. That's when my nephew, Tyler, started calling more often. Tyler was my late brother's only child. David died in a construction accident when Tyler was 15, and his mother remarried and moved to Florida when he turned 18. Tyler stayed in Colorado, bouncing between jobs, between apartments, between what he called opportunities. He was 32 now, charming in that way that made you want to believe him even when your gut said otherwise. Uncle Rob, he'd said over dinner at his favorite steakhouse about 6 months ago. I've been thinking, that house is too much for you to manage alone. What if something happens? What if you fall? You could lie there for days and nobody would know. He wasn't wrong. The house was 3 stories. The stairs were getting harder. I'd had a close call that winter, slipping on ice in the driveway. I've got it handled, I told him, cutting into my ribeye. I know you do. You're the strongest guy I know. He leaned forward. But humor me. What if I moved into the guest house? The one in the back you never use. I'd be right there if you needed anything. And honestly, Uncle Rob, my lease is up next month and rent in Denver is insane. The guest house, Margaret's art studio. I hadn't opened it in years. You'd pay rent? I asked. Of course. Well, eventually. I'm between contracts right now, but this job I'm interviewing for? Software sales. 6-figure base salary. I'd be back on my feet in no time. I should have said no, but Tyler was David's son. David, who'd lent me money when Margaret was sick and wouldn't let me pay it back. David, who'd told me with his dying breath to look after his boy. So Tyler moved in. No rent that first month, or the second, or the third. The job interview fell through, then another one. But he was helpful, I told myself. He mowed the lawn, fixed the garbage disposal, drove me to doctor's appointments when my knee was acting up. Then the appointments started getting more frequent. It began with fatigue. I'd wake up exhausted, even after 10 hours of sleep. My hands shook when I tried to hold my coffee mug. I lost 15 pounds in a month without trying. You need to see a doctor, Uncle Rob, Tyler insisted, looking genuinely concerned. Something's not right. My primary care physician, Dr. Patterson, ran tests. Thyroid was off, blood pressure erratic. Some kidney markers were elevated. Could be age, he said, but let's monitor it. The symptoms got worse. Dizziness, nausea, confusion that came and went. I'd forget what day it was. One time I couldn't remember my own address when the pharmacy called to confirm a prescription. Tyler was there for all of it, taking me to appointments, picking up medications, helping me remember to take my pills. He even started a medication chart on the kitchen counter, checking off each dose with a gold star like I was a child. You're scaring me, Uncle Rob, he said one night, his hand on my shoulder as I sat at the kitchen table, trying to remember if I'd eaten dinner. What if it's something serious? What if it's Alzheimer's? That word. That terrifying word. Margaret's mother had Alzheimer's. I'd watched her disappear piece by piece. Watched Margaret grieve a mother who was still breathing but no longer present. I think we should talk about the future. Tyler said gently. About making sure your affairs are in order. Just in case. Just in case. That's how I ended up at a lawyer's office with Tyler, signing documents I could barely focus on. Power of attorney for healthcare. Power of attorney for finances. It's just a safety net, Tyler assured me. If something happens and you can't make decisions, someone needs to be able to handle things. And I'm family. I'm the only family you've got. The lawyer, a young woman named Jennifer Hayes, walked me through everything. But my head was swimming. The words blurred together. Tyler's hand was steady on my back, supportive. I signed. 2 weeks later, Dr. Patterson referred me to a gastroenterologist. Gallbladder issues, he thought, might explain some of the nausea. An ultrasound showed stones. Surgery was scheduled. The morning of the surgery, Tyler drove me to Street Michael's. I'll be here the whole time, he promised. Right here waiting. I remember the anesthesiologist's kind face, the cold of the IV, the floating sensation, then nothing. Until I woke up to that nurse's warning. After she left, I lay there in the dimming evening light, my mind trying to make sense of it. Don't drink the water. Tyler brought it. Why would she say that? Why would she care? A different nurse came in an hour later with fresh water in a hospital pitcher, ice cubes clinking. How's your pain level, mister? Chandler? Manageable, I said. That other nurse, the one who was here earlier. Dark hair, young, she. I'm the only nurse assigned to you this shift, she said, checking my vitals. Nobody else should be adjusting your IV. My blood ran cold. That night, Tyler came back during visiting hours, all smiles and concern. How you feeling, Uncle Rob? Surgery went great, the doctor said. You'll be home tomorrow. Yeah, I said carefully. Hey, did you bring me water earlier, when I was still groggy? Something flickered across his face, just for a second. Water? No, the nurses handle all that. Why? No reason. Just confused from the anesthesia, I guess. He relaxed. That stuff messes with your head. Get some rest. After he left, I pressed the call button. When the nurse came, I asked if they could test the water bottle that had been on my table earlier. The one that disappeared. We don't keep patient refuse, mister. Chandler. Is something wrong? Probably nothing, I said. But my hands were shaking again, and this time I knew it wasn't from being sick. I went home the next day. Tyler had cleaned the whole house, stocked the fridge, set up my medications on the counter. He was the picture of devoted family, but I couldn't shake that nurse's warning. Don't drink the water. Over the next week, I started paying attention. Really paying attention. Tyler was always the one who brought me my morning coffee, who filled my water glass at dinner, who crushed my pills and mixed them with applesauce when I said they were too hard to swallow. I started pretending to take the pills but palming them instead, dumping the coffee when he wasn't looking. Drinking, only from bottles. I opened myself. Within 3 days, the brain fog started to clear. The shaking decreased. I felt more like myself than I had in months. That's when I got scared, really scared. I needed proof, evidence, but I was an old man who'd signed over power of attorney to my only living relative. Who would believe me? I called my friend George from the old engineering firm. I need a favor, I told him. The kind we don't talk about. George had connections. His son-in-law was a private investigator. Within 2 days, I had a name. Marcus Reed, former cop, now private security. Marcus came to the house when Tyler was at what he claimed was a job interview. 50-something, gray crew cut, eyes that missed nothing. Talk to me, he said, sitting at my kitchen table. I told him everything. The symptoms, the sudden power of attorney, the nurse's warning, my suspicions. You think he's drugging you, Marcus said. Not a question. I think he's been drugging me for months. Making me think I was going senile so I'd sign over control. To what end? This house is worth $800,000. I've got another $400 in savings and investments. Pension pays out over $2,000 a month. Life insurance policy for $250,000. Marcus whistled low. 1.4 million reasons. And with power of attorney, he can move money. make medical decisions, put me in a home if he claims I'm incompetent. Or worse, Marcus said quietly. If your health deteriorates enough, if you have an accident, maybe a fall down those stairs. He let it hang. I need to know if I'm crazy, I said, or if my nephew is trying to kill me. Marcus pulled out his phone. I need you to do exactly what I say. First, we get your blood tested. Private lab, not through your regular doctor. If there's something in your system, we'll find it. Second, I'm installing cameras, small ones. He'll never see them. We need him on video. That's legal? It's your house. Colorado is a one-party consent state for recording. You're the party that consents. Over the next week, Marcus worked his magic. Tiny cameras went up in the kitchen, living room, my bedroom. I gave him a key to come and go when Tyler was out. The blood test came back 3 days later. Marcus's face was grim when he showed me the results. Antifreeze, he said. Ethylene glycol. Small doses over time. Explains everything. The kidney problems. The confusion. The nausea. Long-term exposure can cause permanent organ damage. Eventually, death. I sat down hard. He's been poisoning me. For months, looks like. Probably in your coffee. Anything he could add it to without you tasting it. But why drag it out? Because a sudden death triggers investigation. But an old man slowly deteriorating, getting forgetful, having health problems, maybe has an accident because he's dizzy. That's just tragic. Natural, especially if there's a concerned nephew who's been taking such good care of him, witnessed how bad his decline was. My brother's son, the boy I'd promised to look after, had been slowly killing me. We need video evidence, Marcus said. Blood work proves you were poisoned, but not who did it. Could claim you were exposed somewhere else. We need to catch him in the act. So we waited. I pretended to still be sick, still confused. I made a show of forgetting things, shuffling around the house. Tyler ate it up. Uncle Rob, I'm worried, he said one evening. You seem like you're getting worse. Maybe we should look into memory care facilities, just for a visit. Maybe you're right, I said weakly. 2 days later, the cameras caught it. Tyler in my kitchen at 6 a.m, me still in bed, him opening the cabinet where he kept a bottle hidden behind the flour. The label was hidden, but Marcus had already been through the guest house when Tyler was out. Found 3 bottles of antifreeze in the garage, tucked behind paint cans. The video showed Tyler pouring coffee, then pulling out the bottle, carefully measuring out what looked like a tablespoon, stirring it in, putting everything back, setting the coffee on the counter for me to find when I shuffled out of my bedroom. He did it with the practiced ease of routine. Marcus was watching the feed remotely. He called me immediately. Got him. Don't drink that coffee. I won't. We need more. We need intent. Documentation that proves this was planned. That afternoon, while Tyler was out, Marcus and I searched the guest house thoroughly. We found a notebook in a drawer, Tyler's handwriting. It was a timeline. Dates matched up with when my symptoms started. Dosages written out. Projected timeline. 6 months to significant organ damage. 8 months to probable hospitalization. Natural causes claim. No investigation. There were calculations. My assets totaled up. Life insurance payout. Probate timeline. He'd even researched funeral costs. Probably planning to arrange everything quickly, play the grieving nephew, cash in. There was a post-it note stuck to one page. Power of attorney signed 3/15. Can move money once he's in facility or hospitalized. Transfer to offshore accounts? My hands shook as I photographed every page. This is premeditated attempted murder, Marcus said, and financial exploitation of an at-risk adult. We call the police now, or we can get more. Your call. More, I said. I want him to bury himself. Over the next week, I played my part. I stayed confused. I let Tyler think his plan was working. The cameras caught him adding antifreeze to my food 3 more times. We documented everything. But Tyler was getting impatient. Uncle Rob, he said one evening. I set up a meeting with a really nice assisted living place for next week, just to tour it. I really think it's time. Already? I said, making my voice shake. Your health isn't improving. And I found you standing in the backyard at 2 a.m. last night. You don't remember, do you? I didn't, because it hadn't happened. but I played along. No. God, Tyler. Am I losing my mind? It's okay, he said, his hand on my shoulder. So gentle. So concerned. We'll figure it out. I'm here for you. You know that, right? I'd never let anything bad happen to you. The lie was so smooth. That night, Marcus called. He's moving money. We've been monitoring the accounts you added me to. He transferred $80,000 from your savings to an account in the Caymans this afternoon. Can we stop it? Already on it. Called your bank with the power of attorney fraud evidence. They're freezing everything until the police sort it out. He's going to notice soon. Sure enough, Tyler came home the next day in a rage. The bank froze your accounts, he said, trying to keep his voice level. They said there's suspicious activity. I can't access anything. How am I supposed to pay for your care? What did you need access for? I asked, still playing feeble. Your bills, Uncle Rob, your medications. I've been handling everything because you can't. I know, I said. You've been so good to me, Tyler. I don't know what I'd do without you. He softened a fraction. We'll sort it out. It's just bureaucratic nonsense. But I saw the panic in his eyes. His timeline was falling apart. The next morning, Marcus called me to his car parked down the street. We're moving today. He's going to escalate. The money's frozen. You're still alive. And he knows he's running out of time. I've got everything we need. Detective Rodriguez from Denver PD is ready to move on this. What about the nurse? I asked. The one who warned me at the hospital. We need to find her. Marcus smiled. Already did. Her name's Sarah Vega. She works night shift at Street Michael's. Your nephew came to your room when you were in recovery. Before you woke up, she saw him pour something from a small bottle into your water pitcher. Thought it was strange. So she took the pitcher to be safe. Warned you when you woke up. She's willing to testify. My eyes burned. A complete stranger had saved my life. She filed a report with hospital security, but Tyler was gone before they could question him. They didn't have enough to pursue it. But, combined with everything else we have, the arrest happened at 4 in the afternoon. I was sitting in my living room when Tyler came home. But I wasn't alone. Detective Rodriguez was there, along with 2 uniformed officers. So was Marcus. Tyler froze in the doorway. What's going on? Tyler Chandler, Detective Rodriguez said, standing. You're under arrest for attempted murder, financial exploitation of an at-risk adult, theft, and fraud. What? Uncle Rob, what is this? Tell them. I know what you did, I said quietly. My voice was steady now. Clear. No shake. No confusion. I know you've been poisoning me for 7 months. I have video of you adding antifreeze to my coffee. I found your notebook with the timeline. The police have the bank records showing the money you stole, and the nurse from the hospital is willing to testify about what she saw. Tyler's face went through shock, denial, anger, and finally, something cold. You can't prove anything. You're a confused old man with dementia. I have power of attorney. I have documentation of your decline. Documentation you created, Detective Rodriguez said, while poisoning him to cause that decline. The blood tests show ethylene glycol poisoning consistent with long-term exposure. The cameras show you administering it. Your own handwriting lays out your intent. You're done. As they cuffed him, Tyler looked at me with such hate. You owe me, he hissed. My dad died because he lent you money. Money you never paid back. You owed me. Your father gave that money as a gift, I said, and he'd be ashamed of what you've become. They took him away. The trial took 8 months. Tyler's public defender tried to argue that I was paranoid, that the antifreeze could have come from anywhere, that the power of attorney was legitimate because I really was declining. But Marcus had done his job too well. The video evidence was damning. The notebook was his own handwriting. Sarah Vega's testimony about the hospital incident established a pattern. The medical expert explained how the symptoms of antifreeze poisoning matched my medical timeline exactly. The jury came back in 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge gave him 20 years. He'll be 52 when he gets out, if he makes it that long. I sold the house. Couldn't stay there after everything. Bought a smaller place in Boulder, closer to George and his family. Got a dog, a golden retriever I named Margaret. Started volunteering at a senior center, teaching engineering basics to kids who wanted to learn. But more importantly, I started speaking. The prosecutor connected me with a victims advocacy group focused on elder abuse. I tell my story now, to senior centers, to hospitals, to anyone who'll listen. Because here's what I learned. Elder abuse is hidden. It happens behind closed doors, perpetrated by the people we trust most. Family members, caregivers, people who have access and opportunity and who know we're vulnerable. 1 in 10 Americans over 60 experiences some form of elder abuse. Financial exploitation, physical abuse, neglect, or in my case, a slow poisoning, disguised as natural decline. I was lucky. A nurse paid attention. A friend had connections. I had resources to fight back. But how many others don't? How many people are in homes right now, being slowly stolen from, abused, or worse, and nobody knows? Last month, I got a letter from Sarah Vega, the nurse who saved my life. She'd left St. Michael's to work with an elder abuse response team at another hospital. "Your case changed how I see my job," she wrote. "I'll never ignore my instincts again." I wrote her back, thanked her, told her she was the hero in this story, not me. Because the truth is, I'd be dead if she hadn't spoken up. Dead, and Tyler would have walked away with my life's work, my home, everything Margaret and I built together. He'd have given some touching eulogy at my funeral, collected the life insurance, and moved on. Now, when I speak to groups, I always end with the same message. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, investigate. Ask questions. Document everything. And if you see something that doesn't look right, a bruise, a sudden decline, someone isolating an elderly person, speak up. Be someone's Sarah Vega. Because family doesn't always mean safety. Sometimes the people who should protect us are the ones we need protection from. And sometimes the stranger who whispers a warning is the only thing standing between life and death. I'm Robert Chandler. I'm 67 years old. I survived attempted murder by my own blood. And I'm here to make sure others know they can survive too, and that help is possible, even when it seems impossible. If you're experiencing elder abuse, or you suspect someone you know is, contact your local adult protective services. Call the Elder Care Locator at 1-800-677-1116. Tell someone, anyone, your life is worth fighting for, even when the fight comes from inside your own family.